Hey everybody, Ben Cummings here. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday here. Can you do me a favor? If you can hear me okay, can you type yes into the question box? Hey David, Sherry, Jason, Dan, Suvra, Jonas, Brad. All right. Good, 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 good. Thanks, guys. Hey Kathy, Mark. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get right to the good stuff, shall we? I'm actually going to not go into full keynote presentation mode here. I'm just going to sort of show my slides as we go here, just so we can be a little bit more flexible and get right to it. I think I can pretty much skip the intro to how Q&A works. You guys are pros at this point of the workflow. We're going to take pre-submitted questions, and sometimes I like to take some live questions. It just kind of depends on our time that we have, because we have like 57 questions that were pre-submitted. So realistically, we probably won't get to any live headset type questions, which is fine, because I'm going to try to knock out as many questions as I can. I can work pretty quickly, as you guys know, with this workflow. Let's go to the quote of the month. It's really about productivity, right? As you got into this Amazon business, you realize there's lots of moving parts, probably more than you first realized, I'm sure, correct? That's certainly true for me. And I like this quote from someone I've never heard of, but I did like it a lot. This is Margarita Tartakovsky. And Margarita says, quote, "Productivity isn't about being a workhorse, keeping busy, or burning the midnight oil. It's about priorities, planning, and fiercely protecting your time." I love that. You know, the bottom line is that productive action, massive action, urgency-infused action can transform your life and your business, you know? So I want to quote something. There's a book that that I talked about several months ago called The One Thing by a guy named Gary Keller, who built a multi-billion-dollar company called Keller Williams. And it's a pretty good book. It's a fast read. It's kind of like a simple truths kind of book, but it's funny. He talks about the 80-20 rule throughout the book and how powerful he found it as well. It's one thing you'll discover time and time again. The most successful business people, and usually the most successful blanks in other fields, right, whatever the field is, tend to gravitate or discover that the 80-20 is so darn powerful. They might not verbalize it as the 80-20, but he writes that, quote, "The strangest thing about my life is that I've never worked for anyone who wasn't a millionaire or didn't become one. I didn't set out for this to happen, it just did. And the most important thing I learned from these experiences is that the most successful people are the most productive people. Productive people get stuff done. They achieve better results, and they earn far more in their hours than the rest. They do so because they devote maximum time to being productive on their top priority, their, quote, one thing. They time block their one thing and then protect their time blocks with a vengeance. They've connected the dots between working their time blocks consistently and the extraordinary results they seek." Now, when he talks about the one thing, he's talking about the 20% that generates 80%. So time block your 20% every day and then protect that time block. You know, most people think there's never enough time to be successful, but there is when you block it. Time blocking is a very much results-oriented way of viewing and using time. Like Monday, I call Marketing Mondays. I literally have, after I work out first thing in the morning, I have blocked out until lunchtime marketing-oriented tasks, okay? Look, a lot of you guys are using my Rainmaker Day, and this is where you take an entire day and you focus on business building and marketing type tasks for an entire day, and that is the ultimate expression of time blocking. And then you have what's called a free day, and a free day, of course, is a day away from work. You do not look at your Seller Central account at all. You engage in full rejuvenation, and this actually provides energy so that when you have a Rainmaker Day, you can absolutely kick ass. Those problems just bounce off your chest like you're Superman or Superwoman, right? But you can do time blocking within a day as well, you know? So the more you expand the time that you're spending on those 20% activities, right? So you might only be able to start out with doing it 2 hours a day. And then you can hopefully expand it to 3 hours a day and 4 hours a day. It's very, very powerful, okay? So what the most productive days look like is you block off time to work on the one thing, that 20% activity that requires the minimum time, effort, and energy that will generate the maximum result in the smallest amount of time. And as soon as you get that one thing done, you move to the second 80-20 action. And as soon as you get that done, you move to the next one and the next one. So what you're doing, and if you can kind of discipline yourself to do this every single workday, you are doing the thing that requires the least amount of time and generates the greatest result first, and then you're moving on to the second best and the third best and the fourth best. And you string that together with 1 or 2 or 3 days of that, and then 1 or 2 or 3 months of that, and 1 or 2 or 3 years of that, and it's very, very powerful, incredibly powerful. So anyway, am I perfect at doing this myself? Hell no, right? We all fight the clutter, the complexity, and I have to constantly, frankly, remind myself. I almost have to get my head back in the game daily and say, whoa, 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 this day's spinning out of control. Let me circle back. What is the most impactful, the single most impactful thing that, come hell or high water, before my head's going to hit that pillow, I'm going to get done today, right? And then number 2 and number 3. All right, with that, with that little thing of motivation, you know, it's kind of funny. I was just watching, there is a documentary that was just released. I just saw it on Apple TV. My wife and I rented it, called I Am Chris Farley. And, you know, Chris Farley unfortunately died from a drug overdose at age 33. He was on SNL, but he's got this great character called Motivation Man. So I'll be your motivation man for today. All right, let's go to the questions. Keith Kruger, how are you, Keith? He says that his sales have dropped from 10 to 15 a day to around 2 to 3 a day, and I'm in a pet market. My reviews have not been removed, and my BSR has gone down. What would be the best way in which to relaunch my product? My product has been on the market for 9 months, and I have 176 5-star reviews. All right, well, first of all, good job with all those reviews. The bigger question that I would ask myself, and I would take a look at Google Trends and also a site like Camel, and just make sure that you're just not in a seasonal slowdown. Like, in other words, do we really need to hit the panic button? Is it your product or is it the sector right now? It's just really, really slow. Just so you know, historically, we're in the Amazon slow period of the year, which is why Amazon came out with this idea of Amazon Prime Day, which is just a bloody excuse to get everyone to buy at the slowest time of the year on Amazon, right? So for a lot of markets, again, not all of them, common sense rule applies, right? So if you're selling, you know, pool or outdoors or, you know, sunshine kind of related products or bathing suits, you know what I'm saying, stuff that would be seasonal in the summer, sure, you're doing great. But just make sure that it's not a overall wholesale slowdown in your sector. And the only way to know that is you take a look at Google Trends, look at some of the products on Camel that are in your product category. So we don't want to hit the panic button when there's no reason to panic. You might just have to kind of wait it out. The rebuying tends to happen in fall. Exact same thing would happen in the chiropractic market. The chiropractors would always hit the panic button come June, July, August. They're like, oh my God, the sky's falling. And I would always have to remind them, guys, you have 10 years of QuickBooks. Go look at the historical valleys in your sales, and they always would come in the middle of summer. And why? Well, because people are distracted, busy, they're on vacations. Last thing they want to do when the sun is shining and gorgeous is sit in a freaking doctor's office. And you'll find that a lot of e-commerce also declines in those 3 months, June, July, and August, and they pick right back up with the back-to-school buying. What I think, you know, there's mass psychology in a lot of this stuff, and I'm certainly not an expert in this, but just my own observations in working in the trenches and real brick and mortar kind of, you know, businesses in chiropractic niche and dental niche. You know, I was ran one of the biggest practice management companies in that field, so we talked to thousands of doctors, right? And it's so, there's so many exact parallels to selling physical products in e-commerce, because this mass psychology of buying kicks in, and it kicks in across segments, across markets, across business. I'll just give you an example. Again, I have no proof of this, just gut level feels an entrepreneur. You know, when people start the habit of rebuying again, it tends to sustain itself for an extended period of time. So for example, we have well known, and this is well before Amazon even, you know, was a big entity. We always knew that once people just started buying stuff in November and December for the holidays, that buying behavior tended to carry strongly over into January, even though there was really no ostensive good reason to be continuing the buying, because you were supposedly buying it for friends and family. But no, once you get into the habit and kind of like burst the seal, if you will, you know, break the seal of spending, you just can't tend to continue that habit. You whip out the credit card, now you're buying stuff for yourself, blah, 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 until it peters out in February, March, when you start getting those credit card bills. And I believe the same thing happens with back to school buying. There's a mass psychology that kicks in, people just get into buying mode, they get out of vacation mode, and then blah, 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 that buying pattern kicks in again, okay? Now, let's say that you're right, that something's happened, you know, fundamentally with your ranking. And it's interesting that you didn't tell me what your rank was, because I'm kind of flying blind with that. You told me what your BSR is, but I don't really care about the BSR. I want to know for, like, for example, your number 1, number 2, number 3 keyword, where are you ranking when you were at 10 to 15 sales a day versus where you are now? If you're still at the same rank, we know it's probably just a seasonal trend. If you have gone down a rank, guess what you need to do? You need to re-rank. And guess what I'm going to advise you to do? Yeah, that's right. You gotta, well, you have several approaches. I would suggest you go log into the members area, click on the beginner series here, and watch how to rank your product, or sorry, how to launch your product, and how to rank your product. Both of those will provide you with the strategies to essentially relaunch the product. Just because it's a product that's faltered doesn't mean that you shouldn't take it through almost as if it's a brand new product again and go through that launch discipline. Okay, hopefully you built up a review club. You can even offer this to the same review club all over again. You know, you can offer it in small batches as a giveaway. I mean, personally, I've always been of the opinion that rather than let my product sit there and die on the vine and just twiddle my thumbs, that I want to be very proactive. So who cares if I have to give away another 100 units? It's not selling anyway. So, right? So I tend to be very aggressive in proactively generating sales. Okay? But again, before you do that, look at the seasonal trend. Now, as a plan B, what might work really, really well, I don't know if it'll work now if people aren't buying pet product because of seasonal trend, but they might, is to use the flash sale concept, but be even more aggressive with it. So maybe even more than a 40% discount, do like 64% discount for limited time, something really juicy. So you're not making a profit, but you're not losing all that much either, right? And so you'll be able to recapture some of those losses as opposed to just giving it away for $1 or $2 in an outright giveaway kind of funnel. So I think that is very much worth testing, especially since you have all these great 5-star reviews. Okay, Keith? So that was my answer for you. All right. So Dion says, I've started to build an Amazon review club. Awesome. Very, very smart. My question is, what content to email them with in between our product launches to keep them engaged and responsive? Yeah, that's right. That's always the issue. I still go through the same thing because sometimes there's gaps. So what I do on my Google Calendar, I literally have once a month. So when you use Google Calendar, when you schedule something, you can set it to repeat, and you just say, okay, I want to repeat it monthly on the same day of the week, and that's what I did. So like, let's say it's the second Monday of every month, I have a reminder, and I literally say Deal Club email warm-up or list warm-up, meaning just do some soft contact with them. And sometimes I'll just send ridiculous emails that'll be as simple as, hey, hope your August is going absolutely fantastic. We just came from a great family party and blah blah blah, where the weather was shockingly good for our neck of the woods. And anyway, I just want you to let you know that we've been talking to some Amazon vendors. We have some terrific products that hopefully we'll be able to offer you here in the coming weeks. So anyway, hope your summer's going fantastic. Thanks again for being a Deal Club member, and I'll talk to all of you again soon. You know, something, I mean, really, what did I say there? Nothing, right? Nothing, you know, of content value at all, but it's just a way to kind of remind them that, hey, you know, we're still active. We're still kind of looking for that, okay? So anyway, that's what I would do. He or she said that they've just launched their second product, so I see it being at least 6 to 8 weeks before we launch another one. Is it advisable to contact other ASM masters on the Facebook page? I would not do that. I like to just, you know, jealously protect my review club for our purposes, but that's just me. Okay, that's just me. You might want to collaborate with somebody in a small mastermind group, but I probably would not open up that can of worms and be that visible on any forum, because, you know, there's a lot of benefit to flying underneath the radar with your review club and kind of being stealth. But again, that's just my opinion. All right. All right. So, and I apologize, I'm probably saying this wrong. Is it Grain Foley? We ran a 3-day promo using our super URL. We gave away 20 products per day and moved from page 11 to page 7. Okay, not bad. Probably because you're only giving 20 products per day away, because if you're in a fairly competitive niche, okay, remember, Amazon's not going to rank you unless you you know, have proven sales velocity that is in, you know, at the same level of those that are already on page 1. Otherwise, why would Amazon ever rank you higher than somebody who's already selling very well with a good conversion rate? So 20 products, you know, might not be enough. I always used to tell people back when I was doing one-on-one consulting, I don't have time for it anymore, haven't done it for about a year. But when they would ask me a question, and I knew they didn't want to hear the answer, I would always say, do you want to hear the sugar-coated answer or the no BS answer? And they would all kind of like pause and say, well, the no BS answer. And I would tell them. So the no BS answer is you only gave away 60 units. Now, I know that seems maybe a lot to some of you, but that's nothing. Because I bet the page 1 people for your product are giving away 60 units or more all day long, every single day in one day. So why would Amazon rank you higher than them? So now I always look at this, though, as advertising. I mean, I don't know, maybe because I've owned other brick and mortar. I've owned nightclubs. I've spent, you know, $2,000 a day for a local Las Vegas freaking display ad and stuff like that. So it's like I'm kind of numb to it, I guess. But if you're brand new to business, you might be like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. But it's really not. In the world of advertising, I mean, it's like any other business. You know, you got to have an advertising budget. And I look at giveaways as an advertising budget. So if your hard cost per unit, let's say was, I don't know, $4 or less per unit, you know, let's just get real on what you really spent. You only spent $240. Okay, I can blow through that in the morning on Facebook, right? So yeah, you got to probably give away far more if you want to really compete and make it to page 1. You know, again, you know, do you want the sugar-coated answer or the no BS? I've always far preferred the no BS answer. I just want to know the truth, even if I don't like the answer. I'd rather at least know. So yeah, you got to do it with a larger amount of product. You were right on there, Grain. Right on. All right. Okay. So Stephen, I'm not going to read your question, but the short answer is, if you're facing a lot of competition for one particular product, and the only answer is to keep lowering the price, for me, I got to answer. You know, I got to ask myself, you know, zero-based question, and zero-based thinking says, knowing what I know now, would I still get into that niche or that product? If the answer is no, then you know what the answer is. Don't keep throwing good money after bad. You need to develop a new product in a less competitive space on Amazon. Okay, that for me is exactly what I would do. I mean, you're asking me to be able to squeeze blood from a stone and get rid of the competition and make them stop lowering the price. Unfortunately, you and I don't have that control. So when you're awash with competition, and trust me, I feel your pain. I mean, it happens to us. But in my opinion, find a different sandbox. It's like in New York City, right? When you stand on a curb and you throw your arm up and stop a taxi and one blows by it, you don't go, oh, this is unfair, this sucks. No, you could care less because there's 50 right behind it. It's the same with picking products on Amazon. If that particular product, if that cab already has a customer inside of it, and as they drive by, they splash a little water on you, what are you going to do? You could quit, or you can kind of flag down a far better, cleaner, more polite taxi cab. So that's what I would suggest for you. Rather than just bash your head against the wall and try to fix something you can't fix, I would get a new product in a less competitive niche, if it were me. So Kristen says, at what point should you begin paying sales tax? Are you paying it, and how are you going about handling it? Oh, yeah, we are definitely paying it. Highly recommend as soon as possible that you start paying sales tax. We use a service called TaxJar, and you can find them in Google, TaxJar, TaxJar. And they will largely automate the process for you. And I don't do it myself anymore. We have a CFO who handles all of that, thank God, because I can't stand IRS type or sales tax issues. There's bores that live in daylights out of me. Okay. All right. But yeah, you want to get on that ASAP. Okay. So Thomas says, profit margin. You say go for a 40% margin. That only includes costs of manufacturing and shipping. Yeah. Well, no. When I say I want a 40% profit margin, I mean including all FBA fees, all their pick and pack fees, my hard cost, and the cost of shipping divided by the number of units that I have. Okay. It of course cannot include advertising, because you don't know what advertising will cost you or what you're going to necessarily do, or you might learn a new method. So you don't want to be that anal retentive with calculating profit margin, because it's freaking impossible, right? Like, what if tomorrow you go, oh, I just learned this a terrific method using press releases, right? Well, that's an additional expense. So I more look at advertising as more of like an admin expense that I don't apply on a per product basis. And what is a good rule of thumb to do in that case, if you want some sort of a discipline, which I don't always adhere to this, because sometimes I'll be very aggressive with our advertising just to test different stuff. But a really nice rule of thumb that will keep your overall business profitable is to say, whatever our gross sales were last month, my marketing budget for this month is going to be 10%. So 10% of last month's gross is the max I can spend this month. So put another way, if you did $10,000 in gross sales in July, the most I'm going to let myself spend on marketing this month is $1,000, 10%, okay, of that gross. You got to keep life simple. I mean, you can only spend so many hours in a day, crunching numbers here, right? So anyway, as far as what is your pre-tax profit margin, you'll probably end up net anywhere from 25 to 35% net. That's my guess, but it's really hard to just kind of give you a practical number, because even though I shoot for 40%, quite frankly, most of our products have a much higher profit margin than that. I would say well over 50%, 52, 55% is probably more the norm. So 40% profit margin is the minimum. But just to answer your question, when I say 40% profit margin, that doesn't include any advertising at all. But that includes all my FBA fees, my wholesale cost and my shipping per unit cost. To get it to Amazon, I mean. Okay, so Ken plans to use an inspection service in China, and the pre-shipment inspection, and then once that passes with certain AQLs, certain quality standards, and it looks pretty good. When you use these China inspection services, they'll send you a PDF, and what they do is they take a sampling of your unit. So if I don't know exactly, or I can't remember what the exact sampling is, but it's like not practical. It's impossible for them to go into every single freaking unit, and it would be bad because for them to unbox every unit and then shove it back in a box would probably cause box and packaging damage anyway. To do that. So they take like whatever it is, they open up every X number of cartons and inspect every Y number of units, something like that, and then they document at a certain quality rate the results. And he says, because my supplier was told to provide a quote for a single location, and I won't know where to ship my inventory until I complete my shipping plan, how do you keep the supplier honest when it comes to their original shipping quote? I've never had a problem. So if I say, hey, quote it, come into my New York home, they give me a quote on shipping. And then we all just kind of forget about it because it'll be almost the same whether it comes to New York or if I send it to an Amazon, a Kentucky warehouse. I've never had that as an issue. Now, of course, Murphy's Law being what it is, of course, you'll be the first guy in history to have an issue, right? But I haven't had any issue with that, okay? And you do not want to send it to multiple warehouses. There's a setting in Amazon Seller Central to force it so that you can send your inventory all to one warehouse. Let me just quickly on my other computer see if I can remember how to do that. Just sorry, I'm going to just kind of have to click around here momentarily. It's under, okay, so you're going to log into Seller Central. You might want to write this down. You're going to click Settings in the upper right-hand corner. And I believe then you click on Shipping Settings. Nope, that's not it. There's a way to do it. I just can't remember off the top of my head because I just had to do it once. If anybody can remember how to do it, if you can type that into the chat box right now, I will give this guy an answer. They will charge you extra. It's not an extra $1 per unit. No. Yeah, it's 30 cents additional per unit if you force it into one warehouse. And that's fair because they have to then incur the cost to ship it to their own warehouses at just 30 cents per unit. So that's how I look at it. I'm not opposed to doing that at all because either I got to pay it or they do, and it just simplifies everything if you just can ship it to one warehouse. Let's see if anybody can type in how to do that. I can't remember offhand, but there's absolutely a way to do it. Just write in to Seller Central and just say, I have a situation where I need to send all my inventory to one warehouse. What is the setting in Seller Central where I can do that? Oh, I wish I could remember. Let me just look at one more place. Hold on a second. Wait, I might have found it. Nah, sorry. Can't remember how to do it offhand. I apologize. Roberto, my main man, Roberto Torres. How are you? He says, you are a blessing for all of us. Thanks. Man, love Roberto. He's always so positive. How do you deal with bad reviews? Can you elaborate and give us a step-by-step approach? Your faithful Chilean follower, Roberto. All right, so what we've been doing lately is, well, first of all, we take a look at it. And if it's kind of caustic language where we can say, hey, this is bad for the Amazon community, this is just like profane, this is overly aggressive, we will submit a ticket in the Seller Central. Sometimes they'll remove it. Most of the time they won't. Um, so our go-to tactic is we're using Review Sniper. So every single time we get a negative review, that's our trigger to proactively use Review Sniper to then go out and get some top 10,000 Amazon reviewers to review our product for 5 stars. And true, it can sometimes take a bit of a delay to get, the 1 star shows up or the 2 star shows up right away. Then we have to proactively contact using our Review Sniper process. And I actually taught this, Roberto, 1 or 2 months ago. I can't remember now. I think 2 months ago. And that's exactly what we do, because it doesn't make sense. It's not practical for me to blast out an email every freaking time to our entire review club and say, oh, we're giving away 5 units, because then you get a bunch of unhappy people since you're only giving away 5 units. So we find that Review Sniper, I mean, that's what we're doing. It works really, really well. I guess you could use a thing like Thomason, but I don't know. Thomason, they have up to 35 days to submit an Amazon review, and I just find that the people that already have a proven propensity to leave good 5-star reviews already in your product category, which we can find using Review Sniper, far more effective and way more efficient way. Plus, they already know how Amazon works, right? Okay. Luke Walker. And Luke, I'm sure you've gotten this a lot, but I so badly want to say Luke Skywalker, right? Probably you heard that growing up, I'm sure, right? You're going to hear it a lot more with the new release of the Star Wars movie coming out at Christmas. Can't wait for that. All right, he says, how many employees do you have? Let me think. Well, 5 employees full-time. 6 employees. They're all full-timers. Person number 6 is based in the Philippines. But I mean, I do not like to hire outsourced labor to run an Amazon business. Just this is somebody who's been with me for years, who is absolutely like my right-hand man. I mean, I trust this person with my life. His English is freaking better than mine, practically. I mean, he's just exceptional. But all the rest are based in the U.S. What do they do for your business, and in what order did you hire them? It'll bore you to death if I run through what they do, but essentially a project manager who she is fantastic. She comes from a background as a cost accountant, and which is very handy. It's not direct project management experience, but it plays perfectly into that. So project management, we have somebody who handles all the supply chain stuff. I set her up with all of our how to renegotiate for reorders. She deals with all of that, tracking the shipments, handling the freight forwarders, all that complexity, making sure the shipments reach the warehouse, as the labels get printed out, that she schedules the LTL shipment to the warehouses of Amazon, and also she's in charge of making sure that she notifies me when it's time to reorder based on historical sales. So all the stuff related to kind of supply management. That's what she does. The person from the Philippines full-time is our customer service person. Now keep in mind that is a full-time job because we have multiple brands now, and he's got to become intimately familiar with the products and how to handle basic questions so we don't look ridiculous, things like that. We have a full-time person in China who's a product sourcer for us. The CFO we actually have a CFO and a full-time bookkeeper because it's very important that we know what our profit margins are. We have a shared CFO, so she's not full-time just for this company, but we do have a full-time bookkeeper. That's 5. Who am I forgetting? Oh, and I have a full-time marketing assistant. That's a lot of people, right? How do you manage them and gauge their performance to make sure they're providing value? Oh, okay. So number 1, I'm very much look, one of the nice compliments that I get a lot from you guys is how thorough I am when I teach you guys, that I show screenshots and step by step. I don't gloss over stuff. Guess how I got trained on how to do that? Yeah, I had staff. When I ran my nightclubs, I had over 100 different employees. I had several nightclubs. Guess what? I had to get real good at coming up with systems and like documenting systems. When I was in college, it's funny how books just seemingly fall off the shelf right into your hands at the perfect time. I wanted to become an entrepreneur. At the time, I wanted to become a real estate entrepreneur. Trump had came out with a book called The Art of the Deal. So I read that and I thought, oh, that's it. I'm going to become a billionaire from real estate, right? So it just so happened around that same time, I was somewhat successful buying, real estate rental property when I had no money in college, but they weren't profitable at all. But I quickly learned that, oh my God, it's complete chaos because I was trying to go to college at the same time. So this book literally fell into my hands at the UB library called The E-Myth. And if you haven't read The E-Myth, literally get it today. The E-Myth. It is fantastic. No excuses. This is one of those books that's like tackling and blocking for me. I didn't know any better. I thought this is how everybody should run a business, by having systems in place that allow you to run a turnkey business, essentially. Now, the modern day version of that you should all read is called Work the System, okay? And this is by Sam Carpenter. This is the other book that you absolutely must get. Even if you're a Kindle guy, I suggest getting the hardcover version of this book so you can kind of mark it up and dog your pages. See, again, I look at business slightly differently, though. I look at businesses, ever since I read The E-Myth, as a collection of systems, of interrelated systems. And theoretically, at least, all I needed to do was to create step-by-step processes for each of these pieces of the business, and the thing could practically run itself. Now, in a real-world sense, it doesn't run itself ever that easily and simply like the authors make it sound. But what I am doing is I'm maintaining a list of every single thing that I am still doing, every email that I personally have to respond to. I'm making a list of every single activity. I literally keep it in notes here. And every single week I look at that and I say, okay, what can I offload and to whom? Now, it takes time because I have to create SOPs, I have to create training, I have to show them. Sometimes it literally, you wrestle with the fact that it's going to take me longer to teach this person to do this than if I just knocked it out myself in 5 minutes, but you can't think like that. So I have, okay, so like Tuesday is called Training Tuesdays for me. I time block several hours first thing Tuesday morning where I'm going to offload several items on my list. So the first person I really did this with was my employee named Sabrina, who is my supply chain person, and I had to offload all that stuff to her. So more and more I can focus on my unique ability, which is marketing, ranking, brand development, things like product picking. Even a product picking, I'm slowly, that one's tough because there's such an intuitive feel to that sometimes. Once you know some of the processes, you still have to pull the trigger, especially as you grow your brand extension horizontally. Sometimes it doesn't fit perfectly into my high odds product picking methodology, because something that might not have the proven BSR still might be a perfect fit for our customer base. And I know that because I'm building a buyer email list and I have all these assets out there, that I definitely could move product through those channels. But if I just was relying on Amazon, it wouldn't make any sense. So it's like certain decisions like that are subjective and therefore not scalable. So I'm not quite at the point where I can completely turn that over, nor probably will I ever. I think that's too high level, at least at this stage of my business development. But yeah, just start offloading things that you're doing based on a list of the simplest thing you can do is, okay, make a list of all the emails that you personally have to respond to and say, okay, how can I start training somebody to handle all these issues for me? Same with, Seller Central issues. You say, okay, how can I train someone as these come in one by one to handle these very situations? How to unblock a block listing because they said that my title was violating thus and such, you know. Anyway, that's what I do. Barry says a top 10,000 reviewer says they have a team of 500 reviewers. Well, it just sounds like they have a review club, which I would not use an outside review club. You want to only use your own review club, in my opinion. How would you go about using this review team, or would you stay away from it? Yeah, I would stay away from it. So Tim says, with your coupon method for getting reviews, many sellers are now finding they're kicked out of the buy box by people selling their cheaper free product under the listing for cheaper price. Do you know anyone, like personally? I don't know anyone who that's happened to. I just launched, just so you know, 6 brand new products. In fact, there's 5 that I'm doing ranking launches on right now. It hasn't happened once to one of them, and I gave away hundreds of products. So is this like something that you're worried about? Is this something you read one person and now you're extrapolating it into like this always happens? You know, I'm sure it happens sometimes, but it's rare. And so what? You just buy that one guy's product yourself and kick him out of the buy box. But you don't want to invent words. This is why I've refused to read anything on the Facebook forums anymore, because it plants worries in your mind. And now all of a sudden it's one guy who probably screwed it up, who probably posted it on Slick Deals and didn't follow any of the instructions properly. And now he's got guys that are just reselling it on Amazon, and now he's saying the sky's falling, and therefore you're not worried to do giveaways, right? That's usually how this works, doesn't it? So he says, well, what's your method to combat this? Until it becomes a major problem, which it never has been, I don't have to come up with a solution. Okay? He's not saying it's ever actually happened to him. Okay? So how about you first just rank your product and then worry about that stuff? You know, that's a nice problem to have. Oh, hey, I'm ranked so high that now I'm attracting hijackers. Okay. You know, that's first world problem, right? All right. Yeah, the classic question, right? Hey, Ben, I know this works, but, right, you know, but erases everything I just said. Hey, there's a great method, but, hey, what happens if it's a full moon over Osiris on a Tuesday, a car pulls in front of me and I do a giveaway? What then, right? You know, we invent so many worries, but how about you just get out there and just make stuff happen, then worry about it after the fact? Because you know, I'm telling you, I mean, I pioneered this and it's not been an issue for me. Okay, so Ben, I've heard some people think that super URLs are no longer effective. See Daniel's. See, he's heard where? On one of these Facebook groups, right? Well, test it yourself, right? Because I'm testing this, and they are effective. Okay, direct linking is also effective, right? It's all effective. Look, Amazon's not going to change the fundamental way that they evaluate how to rank a product, because they're money motivated. They want something that's selling well. They want something that converts well so they can maximize sales per visitor. And we want reviews because reviews will help the conversion rate and sell more product. There's no way that Amazon will ever change that fundamental because they're not a non-for-profit organization. So what we do with Facebook processes and flash sales or giveaways is we manipulate the sales velocity such that it looks like all of a sudden we're a popular product. Okay, so you know, super URLs allow you to dial into specific keywords, but again, it all depends on, you know, hey, I heard super URLs don't work. Well, for what keyword? You know, hey, well, I was trying to rank for, you know, Garcinia Cambogia and it didn't work. Well, yeah, I know, because it's too competitive, right? So again, be careful who you listen to. You know, it's kind of like the classic, hey, I heard The private labeling doesn't work anymore. Oh yeah, who'd you hear that from? My uncle Bob, who's a post worker. Oh, okay. Right. All right. Giancarlo Romero says Ben Executioner, and I think he means like execute as in get stuff done, not like you're beheading people. I hope he's right. Ben, you rocked in Vegas. Thanks, buddy. Question: what are your thoughts about the 47 products or categories to avoid from ASM Masters when launching your first product? Well, I would avoid them because they're probably saturated with ASMers. Sherry says, when a customer contacts us because they're unhappy about our product, is it important to give the refund through Amazon system? Oh, yeah. Never direct refund them. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Yeah, you always issue these refunds within Seller Central. Because then they can screw you, right? They can say, hey, give me a refund. So, I mean, what are you going to do, PayPal them? And then they can say to Amazon, hey, give me a refund. And then Amazon gives them a refund on top of it, and then they're going to take it out of your money. So you always want to transact every single thing, Sherry, through Amazon, always. Okay, so Brad asked, like, what percentage of my ad spend do I allocate for new products? What percent, blah, 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 blah. So he's giving me too much credit. Like Brad must think that I have this so dialed in that I know exactly what ad budget I'm going to spend per product. But quite frankly, I don't do that. What I do is when we're launching a new product, I try to guesstimate approximately how many units that I need to give away per day, right, to compete with people that are on page one. And you can do that kind of quick and dirty using like Jungle Scout or Camel. You can just kind of get just a good sort of guess of about how many units you'll have to move. I know I'm going to get 15 questions about show me exactly how to do that, and I can't show you exactly how to do that. You can use things like my crystal ball method, and there are services that will kind of guesstimate it for you, but they're all guesses, except for the crystal ball method is about the most accurate you'll find. But even that's a guess because we're assuming a 10% conversion rate. But and again, I look at the giveaway process as advertising. So I'll just tell you big picture. My goal is this: I always want to recoup all my money and be into profit within 4 months. Knock on wood, I've been able to do it far faster than that. I think 2 months is probably 2.5 months is about the average, okay? But I mean, that's like unheard of, right, in the world of business. I mean, if you talk to Procter & Gamble and they're releasing a new toothpaste or any new product for any Fortune 1000 company, if you tell them, hey, we're going to be able to recoup all of our development costs, all of our costs and be in a profit within 3 months, they're going to send you to the loony bin because they're going to think you're just delusional. But that's a great thing about Amazon. We can actually, through the beauty of private labeling, we can be profitable within 2 to 3 or 4 months, which is really incredible. So that's more how I look at it. Now, if I have a product that I've launched that's ranking but then faltered, okay, then I might do a re-ranking strategy, and it's essentially just the same process, only on a smaller scale. Because I've probably gotten some traction. Maybe I dropped from page, again, I'm making this up. Let's say that I dropped from the bottom of page 1 to the bottom of page, the bottom of page 1 to the bottom of page 2, just as an example. So I don't have to give away that many more to rank on page 1. But see, the question is, well, what keyword are we talking about? So one great tactic you can do is, you're running Amazon ads, aren't you? So, and aren't you getting a feel for what your ROI, your return on investment is for those keywords within that Amazon ads campaign? Well, why can't you sort those keywords by ACoS, lowest ACoS to highest ACoS? So let's say that you have a keyword that only has an 8% ACoS. That means only 8% cost of, 8% advertising cost of sale applied to that. Which is very, very low, So lower ACoS is better, higher ACoS is worse. So what if you just targeted, let's say, the best, highest ROI a keyword that's that you have evidence of right within your Amazon ads campaign, and maybe rank on page one, near the top of page one for that keyword only. And the next month do it for the second best keyword. And the next month do it for the third best keyword. Okay, interesting, huh? So yeah, I don't have it dialed in on a per product basis. Is I do my job up front in a launching stage, and then we will evaluate typically every month our product line and say, hey, where are we faltering? Now, sometimes, and here's like the reality of it. Sometimes you're going to have a product that's just a dog, right? So you got it ranked, and you're still not selling for crap. Okay, that could be two things. It could just be just a dead kind of product category on Amazon. It could be a seasonal thing that might start kicking butt in fall or what have you. And I already said you can get a good sense for that by using Camel or Jungle Scout and looking at the other page one listings, and or just look at Google Trends and see if there's certain seasonality for that, right? Okay, but yeah, so that's my process. Sometimes if we have like excess inventory, or if I want to re-rank for a certain keyword, now I'm using the flash sale, okay, which is killer. Facebook video ads is a great ongoing thing, because if you set your budget, say at 25 bucks a day for a product, that means that, and it's such a cheap form of advertising, I only have to sell 2 products, and I'm in the black, right? 2 products, that's it. So, assuming that each product costs 25 bucks and I'm running at a 50% margin. I mean, I'll take those odds all day long. It also helps with your ranking and blah, 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 blah. All right. Okay, so Tim is bashing Paul Harvey here. Not really, but I love to pick on Paul. He says in the most recent Paul Harvey Seller Central Q&A, he says it's better to use the exact same search terms for the parent listing and within the child variation listings. That's contrary to what you stated in the February ASM Live event. Okay, I'll take credit for that. And different than what James Jones said. Nevertheless, I thought I'd try it, did so, and my page 1 listing fell to page 2 and 3 for most of my keywords. Ugh. I've now restored the search terms to the way they were before, where each child has a different set of terms than the parent and each other. I'm not trying to castigate Paul. Paul, you son of a gun. No, I'm just teasing. I'm a fan and I respect his expertise. Just want to see if you think I'm back on the right track. Well, in Paul's defense, in our parent-child situation, we actually pretty much adhere to the same keywords in a very similar way that Paul Harvey said. Now, there is someone that I know that does try to keyword stuff, different keyword variations into children, which you can do, but maybe because it's the nature of the particular product that I'm thinking of, there's just not that many keyword variations, quite frankly. I mean, if you have 5 children, you must be in a product category that has a gazillion keywords, because I wouldn't even be able to fill that many, with that many variations. So I'm very, very curious if it was. See, you have to be careful what the reason was that your listing fell. Are you sure it was just that change, or was it several new competitors entered the market? Was there some other changes in play? We don't know. We really don't know, because I doubt that, unless you really missed the mark on the keywords and maybe remove some critical keywords, it's really unusual that it would fall to page 2 and 3 just from that. I've never heard of that. I mean, we tweak our titles quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit. I would say probably every month or every other month, and I've never had something drop that substantially just from changing changing some keywords or messing with some titles. So I'm not sure if that was it, but yeah, you might as well restore them to what they were previously, and see if that fixes it. Sorry, I can't be more helpful without knowing the specifics, though, right? All right. So Beverly has an interesting question. She wants to know if I have any insight into the Amazon A9 algorithm. What is the best giveaway price point to use? No one really knows. I've been using $2 a lot lately. Um, does it work better than $1? Not that I can tell, quite frankly, because I use $1 still as well. But I don't know. Maybe just because I'm being paranoid and everyone seems to have knocked off my $1 giveaway concept, which I knocked off from Jason Fladlin, by the way. So I don't know. See, again, I don't like to read the Facebook groups because I love these people who go, you can't, the giveaway stuff doesn't work anymore because Amazon's on to us, even if you're charging $3 for the giveaway. Really? How can that be? Because there's thousands of products that only cost $2 or $3 at full price on Amazon. So what, they're gonna not track any of those sales? Doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense, right? And what, they're going to somehow build some detailed algorithm to say, well, okay, well, any discount won't drive sales. Really? Amazon themselves discount. You probably, if you've ever run a business report, you see that Amazon's running all kinds of internal sales, which they're charging us for, by the way, right? Shipping discounts and blah, blah, blah discounts and lightning deals that they're running. And, they even allow every single listing to have a space in the listing where we can put coupons that incentivize and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. Again, look, I'm only giving you my answer based on real world, what I am doing to put food on my table. Giveaways work. Dollar price points work. $2 price points work. X dollar price points work. Unless Amazon goes crazy and unravels all the common sense e-commerce metrics for how they're going to rank and I just can't foresee that because they're always going to want to boost up the visibility of a product that's selling better over other products. They're always going to want to boost a product that's selling better and has a higher conversion rate than other products, right? So I would not worry too much about it, about what the giveaway price is. If you are really, really, really paranoid, then just do a very aggressive flash sale of 70% off. Okay, so you can still charge $4 or $5, and that will probably be very successful for you if you have your base of reviews already. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. Another question about something they read in the Facebook group. A good rule of thumb might be quit reading everybody's posts in the Facebook group. Be careful who you listen to, right? The bulk of so this person writes, the bulk of my product reviews come from Amazon and Amazon reviewers. What is the risk of these reviews being removed by Amazon? I read in a Facebook group that some members had their product reviews from Thomason removed by Amazon without any explanation. Amazon reviews all sorts of reviews like without explanation, not just Thomason. Like I've had family members that they just removed their reviews. I've had that's why I say don't use any of these large review clubs outside of your own, because I've had like 100 reviews just removed, bam, just like that, and I could track them all back to this one review club that has a very public face now that I used many months, well, actually almost a year ago. So sure, I mean they can take down reviews for all kinds of crazy reasons, and they do. I mean, it doesn't mean that you still don't, proactively add reviews though, right? Okay. All right. So Christopher says, I'm having trouble getting 4 days in a row of releasing holy hell on Facebook with a $1 funnel. He's unleashing all holy hell. Right now I'm on page 2, ranked at number 29. Well, that's not bad for a brand new product. First, okay. Um, okay, I'm not going to drown you in all the details that he's given me here. But his issue was that he was able to move a great number of units the first day, but then kind of faltered the next 3 days. So his results. So in other words, he wasn't able to get 4 days of really good results. And I know why, because your audience size was too small, probably. What I always do is I test 6 audiences. I spend $20 per audience and test six different audiences simultaneously. So yes, 6 different ad sets. Okay. And then I look 24 hours later and I kill the 3 worst performers. I keep the 3 best performers and I test 3 new audiences. So I have 6 again, three of the best and 3 new ones again. I run it another 24 hours and then I take my final 3 and I scale big from that. Scaling big just means you increase your budget because now I know that I can get much better result from these 3 great audiences. And then my problem is the opposite of yours. I find that I'm moving too many products, and then they get pissed at me because I sell out those products quickly. So I actually have to monitor those campaigns and pause those ads at a certain hour of the day when I go through all those coupons that we want. And then I just restart the ads the following morning and just kind of keep an eye on it and then pause it and blah, 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 blah. Good question. And I'm glad to see that you're getting some good ranking results from that, by the way. John already answered that question about sales tax using TaxJar. How do you know if your listing is hijacked? I use Azon Seller Tools, which is this service here. Let me just show you. And there seems to be forever confusion with this one and with James Jones' tool, which is named very similar but totally different. Azon Seller Tools has a hijacker notice. It just sends me an email whenever my listing's hijacked. And when someone says a listing is hijacked, it's when somebody else claims that they have your exact product for sale and they advertise it for sale on your listing, sometimes at a lower price. Sometimes it'll be at like 2 or 3 times the price because they're just trying to, gather some intel from you. And we still try to kick them off the listing, but we don't worry too much about those people. Those are like, you ever see like those National Geographic specials where the elephants are like slowly walking through the jungle and they got these flies and birds that literally land on them and they just after a while they just can't be bothered. That's how I look at those kind of hijackers. We still kick them off our listing, but they're not doing any harm. If my product's selling for 30, they're usually listing on my listing for $59. Who the hell is going to buy from them unless they're like insane or something, right? So yeah, so I just get a notification every time from Azon Seller Tools. In a previous month's training, I taught my cease and desist sequence, and we just send those out. It's a 3-day sequence. We send those out, and in almost every single situation, they will vacate our listing. If not, then we go to stage 2 of that process is where we buy out all their inventory and have it shipped to us. And since we know that it's, we don't wholesale our product anywhere, so we know that it's all counterfeit. So we buy out all our inventory, even if it's like 100 or 200 units, have it shipped to my house. And then we notify Amazon, these are all counterfeit units, and we ship them back for a full refund, and we get that guy kicked off our listing that way. So Nick has a good question. He wants to sell products which are electrical in nature. And he wants to know, how do I make sure that things are like USA compliant? It's not really Amazon compliancy, it's USA. And I know enough about this to be dangerous. We have one product that we're actually right now going through that process ourselves. And I can't even recall the designation. It's like ETL or some like electronic blah 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 license they have to get. So I honestly do not do not know a lot about that myself. Quite frankly, we're relying on the supplier's knowledge of this, and we always make sure that we try to deal with a very reputable supplier. When you're going on Alibaba, you can check off gold supplier and assessed supplier to ensure that if somebody's like a gold supplier for 9 years and they specialize in electrical, you just have to be very upfront and you say, listen, I need to know exactly what we need to do to be USA compliant to sell this electrical item. You need to talk to your manager and find out what are the licenses, what are the certifications that you need to provide us to comply and sell these products in the USA. But I don't know that much about it, quite frankly. Now, our product that we're selling, it has an electrical component to it, so we might not be as in jeopardy as something where there's voltage requirements and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but a good supplier should be able to walk you through that process. Okay, so Lisa is placing an order, and she's getting several thousand units. Nice. And she is going to have her Shopify page ready, and she wants to know what percentage of products are we selling independent of Amazon. We're selling a small percentage right now, only because we are testing a bunch of paid advertising things through Shopify. And so once we get that nailed down, now we can choose to drive like all my Facebook tactics. Those would work equally well driving them right to a Shopify store. Okay, and we have this game plan. It's not yet. It's not in our game plan yet, but in the very near future. And don't worry, I'm going to document this in Fast Track, of course. But we're going to be turning all of these resources, all this paid traffic that I keep teaching in my Look Over My Shoulder coaching program, as part of, what I'm doing here with Fast Track. We're gonna direct all that traffic eventually to our Shopify store. Amazon is a great launch pad for all of our new products. It will probably always remain that. But then we need to diversify. And rather than making Jeff Bezos rich, we want to make ourselves rich through our Shopify site and really build up a true brand that we can eventually sell. A business predicated solely on Amazon ain't a business. It's a deal. It's a trick. So sure, we all use it. Now, that being said, you want to increase sales, the number one best thing you can do is to pick products to sell on Amazon, to launch them on Amazon, to rank them on Amazon, to advertise them, right? But the long-term play is to do both, is to have multiple channels. Right now, there are, I don't know, maybe 100 different people selling our products on eBay. Well, we're going to start selling our products on eBay at a fraction of the price because they're all marking them up because they're just buying them from us, right? Sites like Etsy, there are certain products that are very appropriate to sell on Etsy. And on and on and on and on and on. There's lots of other e-commerce channels. It's just that Amazon is a wonderful launching pad for all of our new products. Probably always will remain that. And I always will have a soft spot in my heart for Amazon in general. But Shopify really has me ultra excited because the Shopify store, you can do what you can do with Amazon. You can offer upsells. You can offer auto replenishment services. You can offer bundles. You can build your own buyer list, things like that. So the truth is we want to do both, right? So at least I think that's very smart. Okay, so Tanya, and how are you, Tanya? She asked a very similar question to the very first question that I got. Her product was selling well, and now it's kind of faltering a bit. So I would refer you literally. I have the exact same answer for that, but rather than put everyone to sleep and just go over that again, I would refer you to the very first question that I answered about how I would view and look at and kind of like revive a product that you believe has faltered. And just again, a quick summary of it is just make sure that it just doesn't so happen to be a kind of a seasonal slowdown, right, for that particular product, just in general, and maybe has nothing to do with your product itself. But then you just have to look at it as relaunching the product if you think it still has viability, right? And again, there's several ways that you can skin that cat. I certainly have provided you with a lot of tools to put in your tool belt to do that. Most recently, the flash sale. So you can do a deep discount flash sale so that you're minimizing your losses. You can go old school, which I still use all the time as well, which is $1, $2, $3 giveaways. Or option 3, if you think it's a dog, move on with your life and find a new product. There's certainly a gazillion super profitable products that you can and should source on Amazon. Okay, so somebody has a question that they still haven't yet completed the main ASM course. Well, for God's sakes, finish the main ASM course. It doesn't require that much time, right? I mean, if I had to, I could knock it out in 2 full days. I would like lock my doors, starting 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and by Sunday at 9 p.m. True, I would have a beard by that point, and I would look homeless probably. I'd be so scraggly looking, but just get it done. I mean, what are you waiting for? Just go through the course because I want you to be successful with it. But like, what's taking you so long, right? And then and then you can start applying everything that we're teaching here in Fast Track, because this is where it's happening, right, guys? Fast Track's where it's happening. All right. A little tough love there, right? A little tough love from Ben. Did you figure out shipping from China by sea? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. I did. Let's see. Okay, so Mike had an issue with Facebook not liking one of his ads. Welcome to the club. I've heard big brands running ads for just basic goods and sundries that, 3 people on Facebook didn't like their ad, so they flag it, and then they have to, you know, um, due to unusual activity, they have to get their accounts unfrozen. So everyone wants to know, well, what did I do wrong? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's one thing I do know, okay? Lead pages, back when I taught it, using lead pages over a year ago, they were still relatively new. Now what happens is that when people flag an ad, Facebook internally also flags that domain. So if enough people see, thousands of people are using lead pages for business opportunities, for how to make money from horse gambling to niches to blah 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 to a whole host of things, including Amazon people too. So what happens is, Facebook starts getting all these negative feedback clicks to these ads that are pointing to lead pages, and then you, not knowing any better, run an ad, and there's nothing wrong with the ad, but you're using that domain, lead pages, that you're not in control of, that's been flagged by several hundred people, and all of a sudden they're locking your account, and that happens all the time. And that's why I stopped teaching anything about lead pages well over a year ago. Like, not to mention, I just found it just not necessary because we provided you with the HTML templates. So that's the first thing that you need to look at. Is it the domain that you're using? Is that the problem? Okay. Now, if that's not the problem, then you have to also understand, it's okay, just like Amazon will flag you for just ridiculous stuff sometimes, even literally every other listing on the first 10 pages blatantly violates something or is doing something counter to exactly what they're telling you that you can't do. Facebook's the same way. You're dealing with a giant organization. Whenever you're dealing with a giant organization, you know, that the bureaucracy, it's going to run over a certain percentage of people. It's just bound to happen. So oftentimes you have no idea even what you did wrong. You have no idea how to prove that you didn't do anything unusual. What I recommend that you do, if you run into any problem, whether it's with Amazon or any big bureaucracy or organization, is send a daily email. And, you know, you don't need to tell them your life story. Don't sound like you're whining and complaining. Just be very professional and say that you've done nothing wrong, that you've just launched this yada yada business, and it's a family-run business, and we would like to make an appeal, and can please someone higher up please take a look at this and resolve this, because we believe very strongly in Facebook advertising, and we've done nothing wrong. Thanks for your help. I look forward to hearing from you. Here's my cell phone number to call me and ask me any further questions you may have. You know, that sort of thing. And that's about the best that you can do, and that usually works. But anyway. Unfortunately, Matthew, I don't have enough information to answer your question properly. He says that his product just vanished off of the search results. This is Matthew's ongoing saga. He can't seem to get the giveaway funnel to work for his product. Constant issues, constant drama, and now he can't even be found. Unfortunately, I've never encountered that. You know, I don't know, man. That product's cursed or something, right? So, you know, hopefully it's resolved itself. I've had weird stuff happen. I mean, all joking aside, I've had weird stuff happen with products where, all of a sudden I start getting notices that blah 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 product's out of stock, and we're like, what are you talking about? It's not out of stock. And we look, and they've like blocked our listing for no reason, and so we have to contact Seller Central, and they've literally blocked it. So that's my guess is what happened to you. You don't realize, but they've blocked your listing, and so it might be some fix you need to make. I had, you know, very frustrating, right? Because sometimes it'll take 2 days for them to unblock it. One, what they claimed was a title issue, and I honestly just think the person made it up. I don't even think they know why it was blocked. So you just go through the motions and say, hey, there's been a mistake. My listing, which has been active for X number of months, has been blocked. We're compliant. Can you please fix this error? And they'll get back to you. So if a her from Estonia says I have a potential second product that that otherwise has passed your high odds product picking criteria, only thing that's holding me back is the majority of the first page listings for the main keyword are Amazon owned brands, but review count's not very high. Is that something that should hold me back? It's in the baby category. It would not hold me back at all, because there's a perception that it's shipped and sold by Amazon, or it's an Amazon, you know, therefore there's no way I can rank higher than them. But you know what? That's absolutely false. The people at Vendor Central have no control over how listings get ranked. Amazon has given away. There's no one that I have ever encountered in any department, and we've given Amazon certain advertising departments $75K for this one little known advertising program. We have, I mean, every single like department head across multiple different departments at Amazon, none of them have ever been empowered to be able to control rank. So what does that tell you? It tells you that we can compete. And Amazon wants it that way, rightly so. Now, they may change that. They may want to own and control, like everybody else, out. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen at some point. But no, that would not scare me at all. In fact, that would encourage me because I know that Amazon is a big, bureaucratic company, not nimble, not as entrepreneurial as I am. It's just the nature of big business. So I believe that I could easily outmarket them. So I would go for it if I were you. Okay. So Avery says that she heard that if you do a big product launch, I'm assuming Avery's meaning like a big giveaway, that the product will automatically get listed under multiple subcategories. Is it true? Yeah, I found that the higher that we rank, we're automatically being added to various subcategories. And I have not found a way to force that. Even though people claim there is, I've never been able to force it. It just seems to happen organically as your product starts ranking. Okay, so someone's concerned about Amazon Basics, entering the space and, for certain like pet supplies and blah, 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 blah. From my experience, Amazon Basics is just that. They're going after very plain, plain and ordinary type, very, very basic products. And they are going to be more price competitive in most cases than we are, but that would not worry me. There's so many products out there. It's kind of like my taxi cab analogy that there's so many freaking other product categories, and product types that Amazon, I'm sure, has no interest. I mean, there's no way that Amazon could be into every single product that exists out there. It's just not practical. So they're probably going after, just like their name sounds, Amazon Basics, Okay, so Kevin, I'm not going to read a question out loud because I don't want to give anything away, but uh, and this is Kevin Jackson. I would not worry about someone who's done that. Um, Essentially, somebody has bought his product that he sells for about 20 bucks, and he's listed it as an FBM for 53 bucks, and that's fine as long as it's not competing with me. But I mean, hey, he's buying my product. If what he's doing is he's playing what I call the greater fool theory. He's hoping that somebody won't know any different, and they're gonna, instead of paying you 19.95, they're gonna pay him 53 bucks. And I say, great, hopefully he gets lots of people that pay him 53 bucks as long as he keeps buying my product for 19 bucks. I mean, that's fine with me. I know that it's kind of funny how people try different stuff here. So Jason Rich, my answer to you is the exact same answer that I gave to the opening question about somebody who had entered a product space, and their product has faltered, or they've gotten more competition. And so my answer is always going to be the same, right? It's going to be, even if it's not what you want to hear, if you believe that the competition is just absurd now, then find a less competitive product. I mean, I know it sounds so painfully obvious when I say it that way. It's like, duh. But what's the alternative? Keep throwing good money after bad? I don't think that makes any sense. So, but I would refer you again to, luckily it was the very first question that I did, so listen to that part of the replay. Mabel says, is the amazing.com summit worth the time and money? Well, see, I have probably a different point of view on this kind of stuff than a lot of people. I can't attend that because I'm going to be in St. Bart's. Nothing gets in the way of St. Bart's. But if I wasn't going to St. Bart's, I would be attending that. I mean, I try to attend most live events that have to do with anything that will give me a new insight, a new aha moment, a new competitive edge. I want to be in a mix on. Why? Well, because I want to be very successful in this business. So that's why I think that, I mean, you know, the fact that you're part of Fast Track makes us, you know, kindred spirits, because I know that you like to learn, but people like me and you, Mabel, are freaks. Most people out there, you know, frankly, can't be bothered to learn, but I'm into kind of perpetual learning. And so, you know, even if some of the speakers I don't get much out of, all I need is that one offhanded comment, remark, that one speaker who said something that triggered something else in my mind, and bam, that could be the breakthrough. So I'm a big fan of self-education. You know, school is never out for the pro. Stan says, can I briefly discuss the devaluation of the Chinese currency? What do you think I am, CNBC here? I did read that, and I was happy, because if they devalue the Chinese currency, it means that theoretically it's going to be cheaper for us to buy goods. And don't you find it interesting that the Chinese decide to do this right now when we're all going to place reorders for the holiday season? Interesting, right? But yeah, I don't really know how it's going to ultimately impact us, because we're, frankly, me and you and most of us, we're small potatoes compared to, you know, companies like Apple that are buying hundreds of millions of dollars of goods. So for them, I'm sure it has a very interesting, unique impact. But you know, we're playing with small dollars. I mean, even if we're doing $1 million, $2 million a month, that's frankly nothing compared to these very large, you know, multinational companies that are transacting hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. Cindy says, do you submit MSDS document to Amazon before they ask for it? Now, I personally never do. Why? Well, I just don't want to cause any issues that will cause a delay in my product listing. I do ask for it, and we keep it as a PDF file in Dropbox for the product, but I'm just assuming that I'm going to be able to list it without any issue. And so that's what I've only ever had to supply it once. So no, I would not. Like, I know what you're saying, right? It's good. You know, we want to be proactive, but when you're dealing with a big, bureaucracy, sometimes it's not good to be proactive. You'll actually cause yourself problems. So say, wait a minute, should we be concerned? Hold on a second. We're gonna lock your listing while we look into this. And meanwhile, you're stuck in a black hole of having a block listing for months. You know. Brad says, I know that when we start selling 10,000 3 consecutive months, we have to supply Amazon with proof of product life. Okay, I've never heard of anybody that I know in my circle who's ever had to show or has shown Amazon proof of product liability insurance. Okay, so I'm just telling you in a practical sense, this is kind of like Cindy's question. It's like, it's probably somewhere in our terms of service, but I don't think anyone in the history of Amazon's actually done it. And in fact, you'd probably freak out Amazon if you did do it. I don't know. I just think that they want you to do it. Of course they would want you to do it. I think Amazon puts it on there so they can cover their ass. But in a practical sense, I don't know anyone who's actually proactively said, oh, okay, I've hit 10,000 a month now for 3 months in a row. Now I'm going to provide Amazon with proof of liability insurance. Now, as a practical matter, you should get it. I do have a person, but I do not feel comfortable giving it out here in Fast Track because somebody privately gave it to me. I do not have their permission to share it. But look, it's not one of those mysteries of life. You can do a quick Google search, and there's a gazillion people that will give you quotes on product liability. It's a pain in the ass because what they do is, let's see where you're based out of. Okay, you're based out of California. All right, good. So you might have like an umbrella policy, right? Like a personal umbrella policy for you as a person. So if somebody does a slip and fall in your yard, or a contractor falls and breaks his ass doing something, then they can't sue you. So it's kind of an umbrella policy that once the homeowner's policy is breached, or if you get into a car accident and the car insurance is breached, it'll kind of pick up the slack. There is no such thing like that, unfortunately, for product liability. There's no like all-encompassing umbrella that works. You got to get each and every single product insured separately. So in a practical matter, you're going to want to be doing some significant sales for that product before you want to incur that expense, because it can get very, very costly. Now, again, I am not a lawyer. I do not give legal advice. I'm just telling you, my own firsthand experiences. Okay. Thanks, Brad. Good questions. Good questions here. David says the Led Zeppelin tribute is coming up. Awesome. Practicing like a madman. Awesome. It's kind of an insider thing that somebody shared with me at the live event. Also released product number 1 8 days ago. Awesome. Okay, so he's asking about my email triad, which is just my fancy way of saying I use Feedback Genius, and there's a series of automated emails that go out after somebody buys an Amazon product. It's all sent within the Amazon system. And he wants to know if anything has changed with that triad. And the answer is absolutely no. We're still using the exact same model. And David kicks some ass, and also, kicks some ass with that Led Zepp tribute. Would love to see that. Ian says that my link rotator is not working. I've not heard that from anyone else. It works fine for me, and I just installed it just the other day. So I'm not sure exactly what to tell you. I'm not sure if you're using some weird hosting setup that might be causing some issue, but trust me, if it didn't work, we'd be hearing from hundreds of people in Fast Track, and I've not heard from a single person say it doesn't work. So unfortunately, I don't know what to tell you, because it's a very basic program, and it has always worked for me. I haven't heard any other reported issues. However, you're in luck, because this month I just happened to teach a link rotator tool called Click Magic that also has, as part of the built-in, one of the features is a link rotator there. So if you can't get mine to work, just use that one. And sorry you're having problems there. Roland says, Ben, what's your take on lifetime guarantee? My product has a glass component that can break anytime. My main competitor pledges to replace the item anytime it's broken, which is super customer service. From your experience, do people abuse that kind of offer? Do the pros outweigh the cons? Thank you. Okay, so here's my experience. We offer guarantees, all kinds of different guarantees. You would think people would blatantly abuse it, but here's what I find. Even if you didn't offer a stated money-back guarantee, most people don't, frankly. See, we remember that kind of stuff because it's our listing, but most people, when they're on Amazon, they don't scrutinize, they don't read, they don't remember every single feature and the fact that you have a lifetime guarantee. Honestly, they don't. So in the real world, here's what happens. They don't have a clue what their options are. So they'll send an email that sounds like this, and I'm sure you've gotten these. They'll say, hey, I accidentally broke the glass. I don't mind paying for it, but can you send me a replacement, or how does that work? Right? I'm sure you've gotten those. So they're absolutely blown away when you say, and frankly, even if I didn't say that I had a lifetime guarantee, just for good customer service, I would send them a free one anyway. Just to get some good buzz out there. And I'd probably say, hey, and if you don't mind, if you liked our service, we'd love it if you'd post some feedback on our product page. It really helps out a small business like us. And people freak because it's such good customer service. So the argument to be made is this: if you're doing it anyway behind the scenes, why not just make it front and center as a feature? And I know the reason why people think that they don't want to do that. They picture that everyone's going to take advantage of them, but are they really? From my experience, I mean, maybe one person has, but I've never felt like I've been blatantly taken advantage of ever. So I think the pros do outweigh the cons. I think there's very few cons anyway, because they're going to contact you if they have an issue anyway. They're not going to remember if you offer a lifetime guarantee in most cases. I mean, people have a life, you know? They're, they're not going to remember what the guarantee policy is for any one particular product. I mean, there are some people, okay, admittedly, there are some people that do, that are Rain Man-like with their, anal retentiveness and catalog all this stuff. But I mean, the vast majority of people, right, are like me and you. They're on Amazon, they're impulse buying, they're going to buy it. Oops, I have a problem. They're going to contact the company. And when the company says, you know what, no worries, we're just going to ship you a new one, you're just blown away. That's how I find it works in the real world usually. Because remember, these aren't super expensive products. These are in most cases relatively inexpensive products, so people don't freak out over that stuff, from my experience at least. Good questions. Sue says something about on-site check option Alibaba. Hold on, let me just go to Alibaba. Alibaba. I'm actually doing this on my laptop here, so I don't have to pause my screen share. Let me just see. Okay, so the two options I check off are gold supplier and on-site check. Okay? And she's saying that they're not showing up for her. I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, well, you have to be logged in. First of all, you have to be logged in, okay, for you to get certain features. So let's do hummingbird feeder. And it's sure showing up. Oh, wait, that's interesting. Huh. I never saw that because, wait, let me see if I misspelled this. I'm looking at my laptop, and on-site check is available there. Let me see something here. Huh. And yet it's not showing up on this computer. I wonder if they're testing something. Very interesting. Well, I don't know what to tell you. You are right. Here I was going to tell you that you must have missed the checkbox, but no, you're right. See, for here it only shows gold supplier, and I'm looking at my laptop and it says gold supplier, on-site check, and assess supplier. Well, in this case, I would just go with the gold supplier then. Weird. And in fact, I'm looking at the listings, and the exact same in the same order on my laptop. Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, they must be testing something out, huh? Don't know what to tell you about that one. Weird. Okay. So Joyce is wanting me to provide a summary of every webinar I've ever done. Not happening, Joyce. I'm just too busy. I apologize. What I recommend that you do is super easy. Is just download the slides for all the sessions, and usually like the fourth or fifth slide in, it shows a summary of what I'm going to teach. It says, there's like a little agenda thing. It says, okay, here's what's on our agenda today, and there's 3 or 4 bullet points that summarize everything, and that's the best thing for you to do. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have time to do that. I apologize. I wish I did. Trust me, I wish I had time to lay on a hammock in St. Bart's and fan myself, right, and drink rosé every day. Maybe one day. Okay, so Brandon wants to know how I go about optimizing my listings, and if I have some ultra dialed in process and procedure. I don't. I literally do the best that I can when I first list a product. I go through all the processes that I've taught in previous sessions about how to optimize a listing, how to write bullets, and the keyword research. I just do the very best that I can, and then I launch my product. And if something just isn't jiving, believe me, you will get a gut instinct very, very soon. You'll get weird questions, or it just won't seem to stick in the rankings, your real conversion rate will suck. I mean, conversion rate is the ultimate red flag. Now, it's a bit interesting when you're launching a product, though, right? Because using my methods, you get an artificially high conversion rate, which is good because we're tricking Amazon that we have a high converting listing that's moving a lot of product per day. That's all good. But we don't really know what the real world conversion rate is. So you almost have to let the dust settle, and you may very well fall in rank as you discover that your actual conversion rate is just abysmal compared to other listings. And it's just part of the product launch cycle, and happens to everybody. Especially as you launch new products. Now, I think my batting average is higher than norm, but look, ultimately you don't know until you just get out there and test the product. So when you're looking at your actual conversion rates, which I probably look at realistically once a month, when I'm just kind of poking around. I don't have it like scheduled. I probably should. But you'll see very quickly that, oh my gosh, this conversion rate's bad. And that's when I start looking at the title and the images right away, because those are usually the two biggies, the title and the images. Can I put some more product and use photos? Gee, there's something not jiving with my images. I also consider price. I start looking at, hey, what's my price relative to the competition? Oh my gosh, I am like hands down the most expensive on the first 2 pages. Okay, well, maybe it got a little too greedy. Maybe to compete realistically for this particular product, the marketplace wants a slightly lower price. Let me lower it $3 or $4 or $5, whatever, right? And then I start looking at the bullet points. The product description is the least influential. Oh, and of course, make sure every Friday, something I will say, every Friday on my calendar is, this is something that I offloaded to an employee. I now have them look at our reviews on every single listing and see if a competitor has voted up a negative review, like all of a sudden, and make sure that our best reviews are showing, prominently. So that's kind of my process. So Stephen has a great question. He says, with the flash deal technique, do you stop the retargeting at the end of the 24 to 48 hour period that the countdown timer is running? Well, actually, the countdown timer only runs for 2 hours, technically. So, we're, again, people think very little, if ever, right? They're busy with their marriages, their financial woes, getting Johnny into soccer, and the latest crisis on the evening news, right? So they tend not to remember the various nuances and subtleties of our crazy offers. So they're again, with rare exception, 99% of the people won't make the connection that, wait a minute, this countdown timer expired. When I went back to the page 2 days later, I can still get this for a discount, right? Bottom line is they just want the discount. They don't really care about those subtleties, quite frankly. They just don't. So he wants to know, how long does a retargeting campaign last? Well, remember, you're going to artificially lower your price for a set number of days. I suggested 4 days. You can do 8 days if you want, make it an 8-day campaign. So as soon as you get 20 people within that custom audience, Amazon allows you to retarget them. So you just probably, day 2 is when you can retarget them. And if you're doing an 8-day campaign, that would allow you 7 days of retargeting. When you set up the retargeting ad, you can set an end date to that campaign, and you just set the end date to midnight on day 8. And that's how we do it. So Sandy says she has a block title and flat file is not changing it. So Sandy, here's what I recommend that you do. Now he is okay. I just went through this, Sandy. So he had 2 of his product titles shortened by Amazon because they were over 200 character count. So the first thing to do is, all of you that do not know what your character count for your titles are. You want to make sure they're under 200 characters. And in one of my product categories, it had to be no more than 100 freaking characters. 100, right? And they want product, brand, they want the model, they want the color, blah blah, all that kind of crap, right? So anyway, so unfortunately, he had somebody in Seller Central change the titles for him, which I'm sure they did a wonderful job, right, Sandy? And he's trying to change them using a flat file. What you need to do, and this is I believe the best solution, is if you want to do a modified title, here's what we do. We go on our e-commerce site, even if you just have a basic WordPress site, and you just add this one product. You put the product title, and then you just kind of copy and paste some of the basic listing details on your own site, and you use that as a citation. You say, hey, we need to better reflect the true product title of this product. You can go look at our e-commerce site here and see what the correct product title should be. And you send them a link to your WordPress site. Can somebody manually fix these two listings for me? For some reason, the titles are locked and I can't edit them. Thanks so much for your help. And that usually does the trick. They just want evidence that that's actually the title, the real title for the product. And the best evidence of that is send them to a website, even if it's not even a built-out website. Anyway, that's what we've done. It works well. What tool do you use for automated email follow-up with customers via Amazon? We use Feedback Genius, and I've already provided the templates of the messages in one of the previous trainings. I cannot remember where the hell that is, but it's like, I want to say it's like January, maybe December, January, somewhere in there. Okay. Sorry, I can't be more helpful with that. As somebody once said about me, they said, Ben knows more, Ben's forgotten more about ranking than I've ever even known. So yeah, we've covered a lot of ground in Fast Track. So I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact month though. Okay, so Paul, hey Paul, how you doing? Paul says that the whole Power Editor interface has changed. Yeah, they did. Of course, they changed it like 2 days after that. We did the live webinar, of course, right? But it's still the same basic structure. What you do to find the custom audience is, okay, you just have to kind of listen and kind of visualize. I don't know how else to explain it because I can't show you inside my account live, unfortunately. But okay, so first of all, for the retargeting option to even be available, you have to get impressions. So it won't be available like immediately once you set it up. So that's probably your problem. But you go into Ad Set, Edit Audience, and at the very top it says something like Custom Audience, and you just start typing anything into that. Well, you actually just click your browser into that, and a drop-down will come up with all your custom audiences. Now, for a custom audience, i.e. this retargeting audience to appear, it has to have at least 20 people that have been added to it already. So for a practical matter, you're going to let your main flash deal run for 1 or 2 days till you get 20 impressions, and then you can turn on your retargeting audience, if that makes sense, okay? So Monica has been struggling with ACoS. The ACoS seems to be very high for her campaigns. Well, there are certain products that it's very, very hard due to competition to make the ACoS profitable. However, I have found that when overall buying on Amazon.com as a whole is low, ACOS shoots up. And we know that summer months are typically slower on Amazon. So you might want to pause that particular campaign and revisit it mid-September, towards the end of September. And I bet all of a sudden you'll see that with that increase, buying traffic, especially as you head into October and the heavy buying season of November, December, that those ACOS that were negative will all of a sudden start becoming, turning over into positive territory, at least from my experience. Jamie says sales and conversions plummet every time our listing changes to the new layout. We've done our best to optimize our above the fold bullets, but it hasn't helped. Can you think of anything else we could try? Well, yeah. As you're seeing, they sort of truncate the bullets now. So even more important is, let's call it the real estate triad, the most valuable real estate: the title, the images, and then they're going to bounce right down to your reviews. So again, you want to use a tool like Review Sniper to get video reviews and vote those up so they're more prominent, because that real estate's becoming more and more important if they go to that new sort of layout. Someone's asking me how to set up Shopify and integrate it with FBA. That's actually pretty easy to do, but that goes outside the scope of this. I mean, I did it once, and that's a question that you can and should submit to Shopify support, because I'm sure they have some sort of a support document. It's very, very easy to do. We did it in like under 5 minutes, but I just can't remember offhand because it's like one of those one-off tasks. Okay, so Camillo from New York says, I've been using retargeting Facebook ads with video retargeter as well as still image. The results are fantastic so far. Awesome. How long do you keep this ad running in specific retargeted audience? My current retargeted audience is around 5,000 people. Okay, so typically, see, this is tough, right? Because it really depends on the context. But let's say that you're doing a video review ad, and I would let my retargeting ads run a month after, up to a month after I paused my video ad campaign. But see, my video ad campaigns are so cheap and so freaking profitable that I have them both running pretty much all the time. It's a very low risk, high reward thing to do. George from Serbia says, love the flash sale deal system you laid out. In this case, do I need 50 likes when I set up the fan page? No, not at all. Absolutely not at all. Nope, nope. Because this fan page you're setting up is literally just to have something that sounds like it is related to a flash sale or like a deal of the day. So the reason he's asking that question is when you do Facebook offers, there's something called Facebook offers. You need 50 likes to your page. This is something totally different. This is not a Facebook offer. This is just us simulating a Facebook offer, basically. But we're in total control of it. The only thing I would do on my fan page is I would just make 3 or 4 quick posts, like link out to some cool news articles or some sales that you found in Slick Deals, just repost them, just so there's some content there if somebody checks it out. But honestly, no one really cares. They're not going to really look at your flash deal fan page. What they're going to look at is this great offer that you're making. Good question, though. He also wrote, by the way, I saw yesterday in Chrome on my iPad, My sponsored ad appeared 10 times throughout the first 48 items in search. That's awesome. I'm assuming he means in Facebook. That is freaking awesome. Okay, so Mark, rather than read your question, it's very long. I would go with the lower quantity, faster turnaround time, you know, the 15 days versus 35 days. If, well, he's saying that the 500 shipped by air turns out to be like the equivalent of 1,000 shipped by sea. Well, yeah, but you're not an experienced seller yet, so you don't want to deal with the complexity of shipping by sea. So you don't want to play that game. You more have your goal is not to get rich off these 500 units. Your goal is to learn as much as you can, so that you gain experience. So I would do 500 units shipped by air. Just know always that when you ship by air, you're initially going to be paying way more than when you ship by sea. But first, get that thing launched, get it ranking. It'll get there much faster. You'll learn all these skills. Then when you reorder, then you can think about ordering 1,000 or more and shipping by sea. Just know it's going to take longer because it is going to ship by sea. So anyway, that's what I would suggest that you do. And I would take action on that as soon as possible, because if you need to reorder, remember the holidays aren't that far off. So Sean had a question about using the holding the inventory tactic that Wilson Matos wrote a PDF about. And he's wondering if he can hold the inventory for each individual coupon code. No, you basically just block off big chunks of your inventory so that people can only access, let's say, 100 units of 1,000 units. And then once you see that you've had your 100 giveaways, you kill that coupon code, and then you release 100 units more the next day. And then you proceed with the giveaway on day 2 and go through the same process. I would strongly refer you to the ASM Masters bonus area and to read a report that Wilson Matos wrote about how to hold your inventory in reserve, because it really spells it out very, very well there for you. We have 2 more questions and we're going to wrap up. So Sasha and Mark want to know, when you're going through the launch process, how do you know if something's a success? My measurement of whether or not it's a success is how I'm ranking for that product, because of course I'm trying to rank for a keyword that I know has some action. How do I know it has action? Because I've done my keyword research. I've looked at the search volume in merchant words and in Google AdWords, in the Google Keyword Planner, but also common sense. I type that keyword into Amazon, and if I look at the page 1 listings, and all the listings have lots and lots of reviews, what does that tell you? It tells you that that clearly is a buying keyword, and all these listings are getting lots of reviews, so there's some good action happening there. Okay, so my definition of success is I keep my foot on the accelerator until that product is ranked on the top of page 1 or the top of page 2 or the bottom of page 1, and then I let my foot off the accelerator, and then I will wait a month plus to see how the organic sales kick in. Now, if I'm on the bottom of page 1 and the organic sales are crap, that might be a dud product. It just might be that there's not a lot of organic sales happening. But again, if you've looked previously and by all appearances, it does seem that this is a good hot selling category. It could just be a time of year thing again. That's sort of be something that I've repeated throughout this. You have to, you know, business isn't black and white. Unfortunately, there's lots of nuance and subtleties, and there's ebbs and flows in the buying cycles, not only within Amazon site-wide, but within categories. So if you believe that, if you are on the bottom of page one for a great keyword, and it's very few organic sales, but your rank isn't plummeting, it would lead me to believe that it's probably more of a seasonal issue. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Jill, so Jill wants to know. So she ran some YouTube video ads, which is great, by the way. I'm glad to see that you're doing that. But she only got 2 to 3 impressions a day. It's probably because you're not. My guess is it's probably because you're not providing enough of the YouTube links that you want your ad to appear in front of. That's why I use V-roll, because it'll allow me to upload like 2,000 relevant links, per campaign. So we do need enough eyeballs on it. But if you've done that, it is very perplexing why you got so few impressions. It might just be because it's a brand new campaign. I'm not sure. Maybe your budget's too low. Not really sure. She wrote that she tried to bid as high as $2.37, but still did not get a lot of impressions. The 2 views that she got, she paid 8 cents for. So, which is interesting. And she writes, does that mean these 2 customers watch the video past the 30-second mark? Yes, that's my understanding. So what you might want to do, if you're not getting any traction, is you might want to implement the Facebook video ads method, because it's just working very, very well for us, and for a lot of other fast trackers. So anyway, all right, we're going to wrap up. We somehow got through 57 questions in 2 hours, which it was looking bleak there. I didn't think I could do it, but somehow we pulled it off. All right, so I'm mentally fried at this point. We're going to wrap up here. A lot of content, a lot of interesting questions today. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. There's some very good discussion here. And guys, I'll talk to all of you again real soon. We'll be sending out an email with this replay here. If not in a few hours, we'll send it out sometime tomorrow. All right. So keep on kicking butt, and I'll talk to all of you again real soon. See ya.